This might be one of the strangest topics and strangest stories that I have looked at in regards to all of Call of Duty. You see, in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, there's this little thing called Cerberus. Now, Cerberus is everywhere. It was in the original reveal from Call of Duty Black Ops 6 with thetruthlies.com. On top of that, if you go to any of the patch notes, it can be found at the bottom of the Call of Duty website. It's found in promotional materials, in things like the roadmaps. On top of that, one of the main songs for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is Cerberus. In fact, it's the song that's playing in the background right now. But let me ask you a quick question. Let me just look you in the eyes here. Have a deep look, stare deep into my eyes. Try to answer this question. What is Cerberus? Who are they in the campaign? What is their role in this story? It's a very good question now, isn't it? Well, to fully understand what Cerberus is, we have to go back in time, all the way to Black Ops 3.
By absolute loss. He doesn't need his own weapons. He's got ours.
This is the very first teaser for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. This was kind of the name reveal for the game, if you will. And what's interesting about it is several times throughout it, you can see some coordinates which would give us some hints about what Black Ops 3 would be about. But all the audio files had a mix of some things that were from Black Ops 3, but also a bunch of things from Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. Hearing Menendez, Woods, or Mason kind of gave us nostalgia and told us what the game was going to be about, right? Well, wrong. If we go forward into Black Ops 3, really, Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and barely Raul Menendez had anything to do with Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The campaign was completely different altogether, and those characters weren't even a part of it. So almost giving us a kind of bait and switch as to what this game would actually be about. And don't worry, this wouldn't be the only time this happened whatsoever. So once again, they did a similar thing here where they showed off clips from earlier games, earlier zombies maps, but this one made a little bit more sense because Black Ops 4 did indeed tie in at least a little bit with some of the specialist characters that we saw with Black Ops 3. So a little bit more sense is made there. That is until Black Ops Cold War. So for those who remember, this was Pawn Takes Pawn. This was an Easter egg or an ARG that was put together before the announcement of Black Ops Cold War. We didn't know when the game was taking place, but we started to piece together ideas as we saw old Activision games and some small little tidbits and teasers as to what the next Black Ops game might be. But as we pushed further into the ARG, we started to get some cutscenes.
My name is William Bowman.
So we are introduced to someone by the name of William Bowman. Just so happens that this was the son of someone you may recognize from Call of Duty Black Ops 1, someone by the name of Joseph Bowman, someone who was killed by the Russians and the Laos during the Black Ops 1 campaign, who worked alongside Frank Woods as well as Alex Mason. His son came back in this really interesting way, revealing himself in this time period that was going to be the Cold War. Later on, we kind of figured out what he was doing. He was trying to figure out what was going on, what happened to his dad, things along those lines. And at one point, we see him interrogate someone.
Battles fought all over the world, thousands dead because of greed and power. Was it worth it, Perseus?
Perseus? I don't know who sent you here, but your intel's wrong. I'm not Perseus.
Stop lying.
So then things got more interesting. He interrogated someone by the name of Bruce Harris. This was again a character who we saw die during Call of Duty Black Ops 1. During the mission on Mount Yamantau, he falls off the mountain to his presumed death. Turns out he ended up surviving, and indeed, William Bowman thinks he ended up working for the Russians when indeed he did not. So in other words, a pretty interesting setup for what could be the story of Black Ops Cold War. We could have had Alex Mason, Frank Woods somehow getting involved with Joseph Bowman's son, who of course we've seen them work with in the past. But guess what? The game came out and William Bowman was not there. Bruce Harris was not there. But not only that, there was no mention of them. There was no intel about them. There was literally nothing on these characters in the game whatsoever. They were only used as a promotion for the game. And this brings us to Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Not pawn takes pawn this time, but the truth lies. And immediately when we were introduced to this website, the very first thing that we saw was the Cerberus logo. This was a logo with 3 dog heads that was highlighted in orange and put on Mount Rushmore. Immediately, we thought that this was going to have something to do with the game. And immediately, we kind of had an idea of what this was going to be. It was going to be a faction that had gone dark, that was working against the government, that had different beliefs from what was going on in America. This tied in perfectly to the Gulf War setting that was supposed to be in Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So really playing into what we expected. However, here is what was different about Call of Duty Black Ops 6 compared to Black Ops Cold War. Cerberus was in the game, at least kind of. We can see Cerberus in emblems, in menus, in patch notes, in promotional material. It is kind of all over the place, but the weird part is it has nothing to do with the story. Now, obviously, just looking at the Cerberus logo, it is 3 dog heads, and I'll get into the backstory behind it in a second. However, there is 2 circumstances where we could see this in Call of Duty before. Number 1 was in Black Ops 3. Cerberus was the variation of the AGR from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Now, why was the Cerberus bot called Cerberus? Well, it was Black Ops 3's version of dogs, the Hound. The dog that would go around and attack people. But of course we were in the future, so it needed to be a robot. So that's kind of what happened there. But it's not the only time where Cerberus has been in Call of Duty. The other time is in zombies. In both Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 4, in Mob of the Dead and Blood of the Dead, respectively, we could see Cerberus. This was a dog that would spawn in that you did a little bit of an Easter egg to, and you could see here, there were 3 dog heads that would appear on the wall, or 3 Cerberus icons that would show in front of the Hell's Retriever spawning room. Again, this has nothing to do with Black Ops 6. If you go and take the mythology route of things, in Greek mythology, Cerberus is often referred to as the Hound of Hades. He is a multi or triple-headed dog that guards the gates of the underworld and prevents the dead from leaving and the living from getting in. Again, really nothing to do with Black Ops 6. So if it's nothing to do with the campaign or that part of the story, if it has nothing to do with some sort of past Call of Duty, if the Greek mythology doesn't fit in, what is going on? Now, I could give you some BS answer about the Black Ops agents being like Cerberus, protecting the living from being the dead and respecting the dead in some way by protecting them from chemical weapons, but I'm not going to do that because I really don't think that's the case. I mean, if I was like some sort of author or something like that, I could do it, but we're not going to do that. The truth is much more simple. You see, when we got Cerberus as kind of the teaser for the viral marketing for Black Ops 6, the reason why they did it is simple. The code name for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was Cerberus. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They made an entire viral marketing campaign based off of the code name for the game, did websites on it. It is still the logo. I have a mouse pad right now with the Cerberus icon on it, all because they codenamed the game that, and it has zero, absolutely zero, to do with the story of the game or anything like that. I wanted to uncover something and find some secret group hidden within the Black Ops 6 campaign that would explain everything, but no, it was literally a code name for Black Ops 6, and they made a bunch of stuff based off of it. I know you come here for way better stories, but hopefully I can make this one interesting. I got asked about Cerberus a lot, so there is your answer. That is what Cerberus is. That's the story behind it. We've seen it before with Pawn Takes Pawn, and here we are back again with The Truth Lies. Turns out the truth really does lie.